Yo, what's up, everybody, man? It's your guy, your player, your partner, your cousin, your friend, your brother. Nick Frazier, one half of the Water Cooler Talk podcast, man. And tonight, we are back asking the question, the age-old question, which side do you choose? Is it offense? Is it defense? You tell me. We'll talk about it. Coming up next. Let's go.
Boys and girls of all ages, you're tuned into the Water Cooler Talk podcast, the biggest podcast in the world. Yeah.
Going live.
With the coolest podcast.
The Water Cooler Talk podcast. The coolest podcast.
In your ear.
Ladies and gentlemen, man, it's your guy, Nick Frazier, one half of the Water Cooler Talk podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all so much for rocking with us here around the water cooler. As always, man, before we get started, make sure you follow us on Facebook. Either follow us at the Water Cooler Talk podcast or follow us at my page, Nicholas Frazier. It's the same thing. It's literally the same thing. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at the Water Cooler Talk. Follow us on Twitter at CoolestPod23. And as always, subscribe, like, share, and hit the notification bell button here on YouTube so you know when we post videos, when we go live, when we post pictures on YouTube, when we post polls, because we posted a poll today and we got y'all reaction to it. So make sure that you're liking, that you're subscribing, that you're commenting on the channel here at the Water Cooler Talk, because we're trying to grow our audience. In the words of King Richard, we're trying to add more cubes to the water cooler. That's all we're trying to do. Add more cubes to the water cooler. Trying to add the subscribers, man. We appreciate y'all so much for rocking with us here, man. Let's go ahead and take a look, man. Let's see who in the chat with us. We got our guy, Auburn Dad. What's up, man? What's going on, Auburn Dad, War Eagle, man? And he says it is defense until the offense shows proof. Okay. We already got some answers there. JT, Jonathan Taylor, he's saying defense. He says defense has shown up every season. Okay, I see you. The Huggy Beard himself is in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. War Eagle to War damn Eagle, what's going on, man? Hall, War Eagle, man. We in here. Yes, sir, we are. That's what I'm talking about, man. Haha, that's great. Yeah, shout out to Asante. Shout out to my guy Asante, man. Man, we appreciate Asante so much for rocking with us here, man. Nice. Gotta love Mr. Hard Work. Of course. That's what I'm saying, man. My bad, partner. You always ask about us, and thanks. But how you feeling, bro? Man, I'm doing all right. I'm doing good. I'm feeling good. I don't know if you are you directing that towards me, Hall? If you are, I'm feeling great, man. I'm feeling good. I can't complain, man. I always say my saying is keeping my head above water. That's all that's my saying, man. I'm making it. Keeping my head above water. If that's the case, I am good, bro. I am making it. So I appreciate that. And the fact of the matter is, I look forward to this because I get a chance to come around the water cooler with y'all. We get to have conversations. We get to talk. So I enjoy it, man. Thank y'all so much for rocking with us here, man. That man said, dang, so I'm an ice cube. No, man, it's just the same. We just trying to add more subscribers. The subscribers, just trying to add more cubes to it. That's it. We're just trying to add more cubes to it. That's it. It is what it is, man. I like that. Keep your head above the water cooler. Hey, that's what we try to do. We got to keep it above the water cooler, man. Got to keep it above there. I hope it good to be an ice cube when the freeze one. Who you telling? We need that. If it's a freeze warning, then we in the best weather for an ice cube. Because you know what? We won't melt. So it's good to go. That's what it is, man. That's what I'm talking about. That's what's up, man. Yeah, okay. Man, I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Can't complain. Shout out to Tez. Shout out to Tez in the building, ladies and gentlemen. He says defense. That's what he's saying, man. So as you all can see from the thumbnail there, I asked the question. I asked it. I said, which side of the ball do you trust more? Tez, they want to know, are you still in space? Are you still in space, Tez? Let me know if you're still in, they want to know if you're still in space. So I asked the question, which side of the ball do you choose? Which one do you trust more? Do you trust the offense? This is be a revamped new looking offense. Apparently, that's going to be in 2025. Do you trust the defense? We saw what Coach DJ Durkin has done with majority freshmen last year, playing a lot of freshmen, a lot of young guys last year on the defense. So tonight, we're going to answer the question, and we're going to take a look at what a depth chart could possibly look like for Auburn on both sides of the ball. So let's start with the side of the ball that everybody is the most interested in. Start with the offense. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the offense. So this is what the offense potentially could look like this year in 2025. These are the guys that potentially could be at these positions in the offense. We have taken the talents to the water cooler talk football field, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we are. We are at the water cooler talk football field. So let's take a look. So we see what the offensive line looks like. So you see there at left tackle, we have Xavier Chaplin, transfer coming in from the ACC. He's coming in from the ACC. You have Mr. Wright at the left guard. You have Mr. Liu at center. You have Mr. Wade at the right guard. And then, of course, you have a Xavier Miller who's coming back. But before that happened, Mason Murphy, transfer from USC, was brought in because under the impression Miller was leaving. So now we have to sit here and decide which guy could potentially be the right tackle. Who could that guy be? If you ask me, I think Miller has the upper edge. But if you go back and watch the interview that I had with Andy Staples said they brought in Mason Murphy, and he didn't believe Mason Murphy was coming in to be a backup. Mason Murphy was coming in to start. So this is going to be an interesting competition at that right tackle position in the spring and in fall camp to see who takes that position as well. So we'll be looking at that, see what happens. Let's take a look at the receivers at the X position. We think Cam Coleman has that one locked up for sure. Let's take a look at the F position. The F position, Eric Singleton, Malcolm Simmons. Do we see a lot of 4 wide receivers? Because if we do, then Singleton and Simmons will be on the field at the same time, and you probably won't see one of them will probably be that wide position. And Frazier Howard, who normally was a tight end, may not be on the field that much. So you could potentially see Singleton and Simmons on the field at the same time in a 4 wide position, in a 4 wide set. That's a possibility. But for now, looking at this from this position, this is what it's 11 personnel. This is what you're looking at potentially having on the field in 11 personnel. All right. Now, let's move over to the H position, which is probably, in my opinion, probably the most interesting position on this team because you have Horatio Fields, who's brought in from Wake Forest. We have Perry Thompson, who was brought in with the Freeze 4, and we're waiting to see how he progresses because we want to see Perry have a year. We want to see him take that next step and become one of the great receivers in Auburn history. But also, in this particular set right here, you can easily move Eric Singleton to that H position as well. He can easily play on the outside as well. So I didn't put him there, but I just put him in the F spot, that slot position, because that's more than likely where we'll probably see him at. Okay. Now, take a look at that running back position. The running back position of Damari Austin, the running Jeremiah Cobb, Darrell Robinson, the transfer in from UConn. So this is gonna be interesting, man. I don't know. I honestly don't know what to expect from the running back position coming up this spring. Could it be a running back by committee? It's a possibility. It can be. Could Damari Austin run away with this in the spring and he's the solidified starter? That's a possibility. Could Darrell Robinson run away with this and be the solidified starter? The solidified starter in the spring. That's a possibility as well. Jeremiah Cobb. I mean, all 3 of these guys are a possibility to be in that position of being the guy. Now, did get a chance. We got a chance. I don't know if you know, we got a picture with Coach Derek Nix, and we did get a chance to speak with him about that. I'll say this. When I asked him a question, I'll tell you this. The word he said was there's no 27 in that room anymore. 27 is not in that room anymore. So basically, what I'll say this, man. I'll say this. It's gonna be a lot of guys that's going to have to. I think the problem with the running back position is that you've seen flashes of what those guys could be. You see flashes of what they could do and what they possibly can be, but we haven't seen them do it at a sustained enough rate over a period of time. So you haven't seen Austin do it over a sustained rate. You haven't seen Cobb do it over a sustained rate. The only one in that room that you could potentially say has done it over a sustained rate of time is Darrell Robinson, for the simple fact because I think last year he had like 730 some yards rushing, had like 8 or 9 touchdowns or something like that. So there's potential there because he's done it at a sustained rate over time. But he did it at UConn. And you know, if you're one of those people that believe in it being a step down, that's what you're looking at. You're looking at that from that position of it being somewhat of a step down in competition. Depends on who you ask. You know, if you ask me, it is what it is. But of course, the position that everybody is interested in, quarterback, Jackson Arnold. Jackson Arnold is slated to be QB1. I sit here and if you watched yesterday on Have You Heard, me and DC, we had the conversation. I don't believe that they brought this man in and allegedly paying him that type of money. They brought him in to sit on the bench. I don't believe it at all. I don't. I wholeheartedly don't believe that. So I'm going to say that Jackson Arnold is going to be QB1. The investment that was put into him for him to come in and play the quarterback position, he has, for one, the first look. He's going to get the first team reps, and he's going to be QB1. That's just how I see it. That's how I see it. But this here is potentially what the offense will look like. Could it change? Could it potentially change? Yes, it could. Could we see some guys solidify themselves at positions like tight end with Brandon Frazier coming back and Preston Howard to transfer from was it from Maryland? If I'm not mistaken, from Maryland. Could we see one of those guys solidify themselves? Yeah. Could Mason Murphy take over that right tackle spot? Could he? Could a freshman come in and take over that right tackle spot? I don't know, man. This is interesting to see, man. This is interesting. This is an interesting conversation. So I completely understand why people feel that the defense, they're trusting the defense more than they're trusting the offense. Because for one, when you look at this on paper, you see an offensive line that if Miller does start, you have Jeremiah Wright, Connor Lew, Dylan Wade, and Xavier Miller, who was there the previous years. And you're adding what we all think is a solidified left tackle at that position to shore up that end. Then you have Cam Coleman, who is already solidified himself as the number one receiver. Then you go out and you have a Horatio Fields, who is a big body guy who can go up and get the football. And then, of course, you have Perry Thompson in there as well as one of those guys that was a highly touted guy that came in with the Freeze 4. Not to mention what we saw with Malcolm Simmons last year as well at that position of the slot receiver. Also, what you saw as well from Eric Singleton last year at Georgia Tech. Not just last year, but the previous 2 years at Georgia Tech. He was all ACC. He was an honorable mention all ACC player. So the talent the explosiveness, what Coach Hugh Freeze wants to do with this offense, it's there on paper. We see it. What these guys did individually at their schools last year, and what some of them did at Auburn, and what some of these guys did at Auburn last year, if they can come together and they can mix very well, if they can mix their talents very well, then there is no reason for us to think that this offense can't be explosive. But the thing about it is, we haven't seen it yet. And I call it the Auburn PTSD. That's what I call it. I call it the fact of the matter is that we haven't seen it, and we are almost kind of waiting for the train wreck to happen, which we don't want to happen, because every time we get ourselves hyped up for something, every time we get ourselves mentally prepared and mentally ready and mentally like, all right, this is it, like this is what it is, some kind of way it disappoints us. And that's what I call this Auburn PTSD. But hopefully this year we don't have that problem. Hopefully we don't. The talent speaks for itself across the board. The talent speaks for itself across the board. So I sit here and say, if we get good quarterback play, if we can run the ball efficiently, not effectively, but efficiently run the ball, if we limit the turnovers, if we do that, if we're smart, and there was a quote on here that I'm gonna get to in a minute. If we get great game management and play calling situations in this game for this season, Auburn should be a playoff caliber team. On paper, they're a playoff caliber team. Auburn should be a playoff contender. Just being honest. I was watching Josh Pate. Was it last night? Last night was Sunday, right? Sunday night, I was watching Josh Pate, and he said year 3 is normally the year when we start to see production and we start seeing the production side, and that's where Auburn is now. And he even said I'm not quoting him, I'm paraphrasing. He said that this is even the time where you should expect Auburn to be a playoff contender type team this year. I've been saying that for the past month, that Auburn should be a playoff contending team, just based off of the talent that's been accumulated. But there are still little things that we have to tweak and that we have to Jesus Christ. The things that we have to tweak in order for us to be that caliber team. So I don't know, man. But I completely understand where you guys are coming from when you say the defensive side of the ball. I honestly understand it. I completely understand what you say when you say that. Now, let's move to the other side of the ball. This is the defensive side of the ball. Okay? Now, this is just from what I think could potentially, what the defensive side could look like. You have Keldrick Faulk, you have Travis, you have Blockton there. You have Keyron Crawford. Now, if you go back and you watch the interview that I had with Jalen McLeod, I asked Jalen McLeod, who was that guy? Who was that next guy that's coming after you? Because we're losing a lot of production from you. Who is the guy coming after you? The first name he said, Keyron Crawford. Then he said Jamon. He said Keldrick Faulk and Keyron Crawford. Those were the two names he said. I asked him about Rock Bellantoni. He said, you saw what he did with Echo and Derek Hall. He said, be excited. Be excited about it because you saw what he did with those two guys. So it's coming out the players' mouths themselves. He mentioned Keyron. He said Keyron and Keldrick Faulk. So that's who I'm gonna rock with there. Let's move to the linebacker position. Robert Woodyard. This the year that Robert Woodyard steps up and he takes control of this defense. Because I tell you what, when DJ Barber gets on that field, DJ Barber is not relinquishing that position. Is this the year? Can we have depth at that linebacker position? Even though it's not much depth, can we have good rotation there? We all know what DeMarcus Riddick is going to do. We saw what DeMarcus Riddick did last year. We know what he's going to do. Jay Crawford. freshman All-American last year. We know what he's gonna do. I'm telling y'all, Ryan Stratter is going to be a player at Auburn. Watch out. I've been saying this for the past since he got in the portal and I started watching his film. I've been saying this. This man right here, Stratter, is going to be a baller at Auburn. Big kid, big size kid. I'm telling you, he is going to be a baller at Auburn. Now, Ken Lee. Could you put Ken Lee in the nickelback position? I personally would love to see Ken Lee at free safety. That's me. I personally think Ken Lee, I would love to see him at free safety. I would love to see Ken Lee. I would love to see Ken Lee be at the free safety position. I believe that Ken Lee should have the same transition that Jalen Simpson had a couple of years ago. I would love to see him at the free safety position and either move Caleb Harris or Champ Anthony down to that nickelback position permanently. That's what I would love to see. Personally, I would love to see Caleb Harris at the nickel and Ken Lee at the free. But does it happen? I don't know, because Ken Lee has more he has more on-ball press coverage type skills. So he can run with a receiver. He can do that. But in my personal opinion, with Ken Lee, I'm looking at how it would project to the next level. He would not have to turn and run with receivers if he was playing a free safety. He can keep his face mask towards the quarterback. He wouldn't have to turn his head. He can just stay and keep his face mask there, and he can see what the quarterback is looking at and just flow that way depending on what the call is on the defense. I honestly believe that. But I'm going to put him at nickelback right now. But I wholeheartedly believe that a transition to a free safety position for Ken Lee is probably the best thing for his future moving forward. Because Stratter and Crawford, I believe, have those corners locked up. Then, of course, Champ Anthony. Champ Anthony suffered an injury this past season. How does he progress through that? How does Champ Anthony progress through that injury? Because there are guys that are behind him that were signed in his 25 class, Eric Winters, Anquan Fagans. Could those guys come in and play early? I believe Fagans can. I believe Fagans will play. I believe Fagans will play before the end of the year. Wholeheartedly believe that. And then Caleb Harris, man. It's so many people I'm leaving out. Sylvester Smith, Tyler Scott, J.C. Hart. It's so many guys that I'm leaving out on this graphic for the simple fact because there's so much talent on the defensive side of the ball. So I completely understand why we trust the defense more than we trust the offense. I understand it completely. I understand it. It makes logical sense. But man, I'm telling you, man, it's hard. I don't know, bro. I don't know, man. I don't know. This right here. I thought about this, man, because I'm looking at it and I want to, from a talent perspective, from a talent playbook, if I looked at both sides of the ball, I would probably go offense over defense. I probably would. But when you factor in the fact that we haven't had great quarterback play and the Auburn PTSD that we have as Auburn fans, and the fact of the matter that we have that some coaching decisions haven't put our guys in the best position all the time, it bothers me. But then when I look at the defensive side of the ball, stacked as well. But the coaching on the defensive side of the ball, I'm not really too much worried about. But even though there are some lapses sometimes, I'm not really too much worried about it because they've done it. They have produced. They've done that. You know what I'm saying? They've gotten stops. I haven't seen Auburn go get a touchdown when we needed one yet on the offensive side of the ball sometimes. But I've seen the defense get a stop. It's just interesting to see, man. So that's the defensive side. That's the offensive side. You see it? You tell me what you think. Tell me what you think. That's the offense right there. Tell me what you think. Take a look at the chat, man. Ted said, always, JT, he always in space, man. Auburn dad said, Ted should hope in now. You back from the mobile internet. JT add enough ice cubes. We turn them into a block, all four corners. I like that. I trust the players on offense. I do not trust the person running the offense. So I got full confidence in the players, no confidence in Hugh Freeze. Whoa. Okay, okay. All right. Offense, they gotta want it. I feel you. They gotta want it, man. It's not that bad, man. It's not that bad. Murphy started. Okay, so you got Mason Murphy starting over Xavier Miller. Okay, JT, I see you. My guy Wade, what's up, Wade, man? Hope everything going good with you, man. Hope everything good. Auburn dad said, man, better hope Perry wins that, or he gone. I'm feeling it. Okay. That's an interesting one. Because that's another question in itself. If Perry doesn't win that job, what does that say? What are they subliminally telling us about that? I don't know. That's kind of hard for me to say, man. Perry ain't got to stay if he don't get significant playing time. Ain't going to stay if he don't get significant playing time. I want to disagree with that. I really do, but I see where you're coming from with that. Hugh also may run 5 wide as well. That's a possibility too. Yes, Horatio Fields is a senior, and Singleton has 2 years of eligibility though. Yeah, he has 2 years of eligibility though. Ted said, "I don't see play call on that." You're right, man. You're right. I didn't. That's a big piece. That's a big piece on the offensive side. Not seeing a play call. That's a big piece. That's a very big piece. Hello, offense too much unproven in spots. I understand that. That's very true. That's very true. When you look at this graphic again, there is a lot of unproven. So like, let's look at the unproven parts. So I would say the unproven would be probably the H receiver, the Y position, the running back, the quarterback, and would you say right tackle? Would you say right tackle would be probably unproven because now you may have, I don't know, that was that's a little wild to me, the right tackle one, because Miller did pretty well last year. Now he had some lapses, but Mason Murphy did come in and I agree with Andy Staples, Mr. Staples. I don't think he came in to be the backup either. But I don't know if you would consider Chaplin to be a unproven spot. I think you just want to see him do it against SEC competition, but we all know he is a upgrade at that position for what we had last year based on the tape that we watched. So that'll be interesting to see. So let's see. It'll be interesting. 5 Adam, what's going on, my guy? He said Steve Wiltfong said today Bama is leader for Sedarian Morgan, Anthony James, Tristan Keys, and Trent Henderson. Sedarian Morgan is going to be a Alabama Auburn battle until the end. That's the reason why. I don't know if y'all remember this. I stated it a while back. I said in order for Auburn to get Sedarian Morgan, I believe that Auburn's going to have to be a playoff contender because he's going to want to go to a team that's proven, that they can win. Now. And I'm not saying Auburn hasn't proven they can win, but Auburn hasn't proven they couldn't win within the past couple of years. So with Alabama just hiring Ryan Grubb, and having that offensive coordinator come in, that may have changed things. Anthony Jones, I've always heard that Alabama was probably leaning towards Alabama anyway. That's what I've heard. Tristan Keys, who just got the 5-star wide receiver. That's an interesting one. I wonder what intel they got on that. And Trent Henderson, I want to say from Pensacola. That's an interesting one as well because I would probably lean Trent Henderson probably more towards Auburn. I don't know. We'll see. Recruiting is not an exact science. It's just the feeling that you get and and the intel that you get from a lot of people that talk. So it is what it is. Do you use Cobb and Austin and Cobb as line situations like Gibbs and Montgomery? Possibility, yeah. I can see. I didn't think about that, JT. That's actually, I never thought about that like that. That I can see that. I can see that working. But the thing about it is, would there be enough carries to go around for them to do that? Because I wholeheartedly believe that this offense this year is we're gonna be throwing the ball a lot. This offense around. That's what I think. So we'll see. Ted said, "Hey, you dad, true. Most of his experience is on the O-line, which is rare for us. That is rare. I've been saying we should use Austin Cobb as the Lions, Montgomery and Gibbs thing. Change of pace, backs equal carries. I haven't thought of that, JT, but that is interesting. That is interesting. That is very interesting. Hopefully, Coach Hugh Freeze and Coach Nix are watching this, and they may think of that. Hopefully, they does. That won't be the case at signing day if Hugh wins 8+ and Bama falls apart, which is going to happen 5. Yeah, I don't know, man. I still think Auburn has to be somewhat of a playoff contender in order for us to get CD Morgan. I do, but he did state at Junior Day that Auburn is up there. Auburn is up there. C Hall, man, Perry's gonna be his own enemy. He's too big not to get off smaller smaller cornerbacks and safeties. Agree, man. We just want Perry to progress. We want to see him get on the field, and we want to see that athletic ability and that superstar power that he had in high school. We want to see that on the field. So hopefully we can do that. The king of the comments, Travell, is here, man. He said, hopefully we don't. We have been optimistic for the last 4 years and disappointed each time. Very true. For sure. Yes. Yeah. I think they're laughing at when I said twerk. I think that's what they're laughing at. At 5, I saw that. I still think we can land Tristan and Tank. Tank might be Tank. Anthony Jones, that one might be a little hard. I don't know. I think Alabama got the lead in that one. I want to be wrong on that. But Darrell said the defense is stacked. Yes, they are, man. Twerk is a football word. LOL. Auburn Dad said Deborah gonna run out saving players and gonna fall. Hey, Auburn Dad. I hope you right. King Richard in the building. War Eagle, man. War Eagle to you, man. One thing about other than O-line, we're going to be very young on both sides of the ball. Very true. Gonna be playing a lot of young guys. But hey, this is when coaching and scheme becomes apparent and prevalent. So let's see what happens, man. You think Lee get booted to the nickel? Really? This is what I think. I think Can Lee, and I stated it, I think Can Lee deserves to be on the field because of his talent, but I think Strider is better. And I think Can Lee, for his future, would be better for him to have the same move transition-wise that Jalen Simpson had. Move him to the free safety position. I wholeheartedly believe that. I think moving him to the free safety position would be best for the team and potentially for his future. So yeah. You said that for a minute. I'm gonna be on the lookout for him. I think you're talking about Strider playing the boundary corner. I'm telling you, watch out for it. Watch out for it, man. Watch out for it. Is Champ on pace to start the season? That we don't know. Hopefully he is, though. We'll see. What about Fagans and Winters, right? Yeah, Winters and Fagans will get some playing time. I mean, you've heard it from Coach Hugh Freeze himself. He said during early signing period that those were young guys and they were going to have to come in and play. So I'm telling you, it's a possibility that Winters probably could move to the linebacker room as well too. I wouldn't be surprised if he moved to the linebacker room and end up being like an outside, type linebacker. Like I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that as well. I was driving when the show started, but I'm finally home. I'm gonna go defense. All right, the Huggy Beard himself has spoken. He said he going defense. I feel you. Ted's in the building, man. He said winners will touch the field at all 3 levels too. What? I'm gonna tell you, This is how I feel. I think Winters is gonna make his impact on special teams, and when you see his impact on special teams, you're gonna realize just how just how like how explosive this guy is going to be on the defense side of the ball. It's going to be amazing. Same thing for Fagans too. There better be a lot of rotation at every spot on defense, or we'll lose some of the wealth of talent. But that's the thing, though. But here's the thing. Here's the thing about that, Auburn dad. If we start winning, if we are winning and we're perennially in the conversation for being in the college football playoff and we're a playoff contender team, I think guys are more apt to stick around for the simple fact because they're on a winning team. They know that there is a standard that's been set, and the standard is we're not a 5-7, 6-17. We're not fighting to get a bowl game anymore. Now we're perennially fighting for a college football playoff spot. So now we're consistently in the conversation. We're consistently in the national conversation about being one of the teams in the country. So now I'm going to stick around because now I want to prove that my class is the class that can do this. I'm the guy that help us get to the next level. So I think the inner competition there is a little healthy competition will be great, but also winning. When you create a winning culture, guys want to be a part of that. They want to be a part of that. So if we start winning, it helps. It will help a lot. I don't know about the DBs. It could go any way, including Sylvester Smith and Fagans. Yeah, I'm telling you, when you look at this, it's hard because you're leaving off guys like Sylvester Smith. You're leaving off guys like Tyler Scott. You're leaving off guys like JC Hart. You're leaving off those type of guys because there's so much talent. And then you brought in other talent. You brought in new talent like Fagans and a Eric Winters, and not to mention a Tay Seymour. Like you brought these guys in, and you just have the ability to kind of pick and choose where you want to play guys at. This is a great problem to have. And with that problem, some guys won't play. But we'll see what happens, though. We'll see what happens. The Huggy Bear himself said, we all know what's wrong with the offense. That we do. We do. One or two things. Quarterback play went up to par and play calling. So it's one of those two things. C Hall, I think when you got a team full of kids used to winning, I feel they'll get together and bring it. Their stars are growing as well as them. Exactly. When you start getting kids from winning programs, they're not used to losing. So it's going to be it's when they're not used to losing. I say this, when they're not used to losing and they get a taste of that, they're gonna be like, man, this ain't it. We gotta figure out a way to change this around. And then at the point where it can't be changed around, then you start seeing guys try to leave. But I think things are starting to change at Auburn. I think it's starting to change. I think you're starting to see more of a player-led culture at Auburn, which is going to change the program around for the better. King Richard said, I have more confidence in the defense because the coaching on that side has shown us promise. Very true. Very true, King Richard. Very true. Ted's come in and said, if the offense improves, can you imagine the pressure this defense can bring while up 2 TDs? Man, don't get me started on that. Because playing with the but that's another thing too that we're gonna have to learn. As a team on both sides of the ball, if this offense, based on what Ted just said, if this offense is able to do that, you're gonna have to learn how to play with the lead and stop playing from behind. There's a difference. There's a difference there. When you're playing from behind, you're playing catch up. You're trying to scrap and claw your way back to get a win. But if you up 2 TDs, if you up 10, 14, 17 points, you got to learn how to play with the lead. You got to learn how to keep your foot on the gas. You got to learn when to throttle it back. When is the right time to throttle it back? You know, you have to do that. That's an art form within it as well, which attributes to coaching and game management and play calling and having you guys ready to play. So there's a difference there. So that's true too, man. JT said, man, Chaplin will be just fine against SEC comp. He is a player. I believe he will be. He's a prototypical left tackle. Prototypical. He's good, man. He's good. I'm calling him Deborah from now on out. Thanks already. Oh, man. That's funny, man. One thing with Hugh and the staff, they're never out of a recruitment until the end. I understand that. Yeah, that's why I think, man. That's why I think CD Morgan is gonna come down to probably the Auburn Alabama game. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be real with you. Unless one of these teams just come out and they are just bad from the beginning of the season, I think his commitment, probably a lot of these guys' commitments, are gonna come down to that game. Because honestly, those are the schools that are battling for them the most. And a lot of these guys are in-state guys as well, too, or close to the state of Alabama. I know Anthony Jones, Tank Jones, Anthony Jones, CD Morgan, they're in-state guys. Trent Henderson, he's from Pensacola. You can really say that's Alabama, but that's still Florida. So that's close to the state. So I'm saying it's a lot of this is gonna be in-state battles, which is gonna come down to that Auburn Alabama game. So it's gonna be interesting to see. Auburn Dad says, man, Ted's on every channel. I call him that. Tell him I call him Coach Kellen DeBoer, Deborah. Okay, all right. AU Dad, classic. Yes. Daryl comes in and said, man, listening to you talk about all these position battles, possible position changes, players proving what they can do. Perry Thompson. I can't wait till spring. Man, listen, I can't wait till spring either, bro. I'm telling you right now. I can't wait till spring because in the spring, it will give us a glimpse of what these coaches are looking at. Now, because for the simple part, besides a couple of guys not being on campus, majority of the guys they brought in the 25 class and in the portal will be on campus. They will be on campus this spring for spring ball. So seeing that, except for Ashton Daniels, because Ashton Daniels will still be at Stanford. He graduates in May from Stanford. Go get that Stanford degree, my guy. More power to you. But majority of the other guys will be on campus in the spring. So seeing that, when we get a chance to get to the A-Day game, when we get a chance to see these practices, when we get a chance to see this, we'll see what the coaching staff is looking at, where guys shake out, what we're thinking. Like we'll get I don't know if we'll get the clear picture, but we'll definitely, it may not be 4K, but it may be 720p. It possibly could be 1080p. The picture could be that clear. I'm not saying it'll be 4K, 8K, but it could be 720. It could be 1080. So, it's just interesting to see. We'll get a picture at how this thing potentially will look like when we get in the fall camp and things, stuff like that. So it's gonna be interesting to see, man. King of the comments, Travell said, man, better to have great players and not need them than to need them and not have them. I agree with you. With that, except for at the quarterback position. I think you need to trust your quarterback. But hey, let's not get into that. Let me rephrase that. I'm just going to keep saying I don't think we need to recruit an elite quarterback in every class. That's just me. But it is what it is. All right. King Richard, I'm not trying to hype our team up or anything, but hopefully, it was the dumbing down of the offense for poor QB play, and we make the big leap this year. I'm not saying natty, but it will be the year. I'm with you there, King Richard. I'm not saying Auburn needs to win a national championship this year. I'm not saying that either. But when I look at the potential roster, I'm gonna put it back up here on the screen, man. When I look at this potential roster here, and I look at what Cam Coleman did coming down the pipe the end of the season last year, when I see what Malcolm Simmons did as a freshman last year, when he wasn't even projected to be on the field for real, when I saw what Eric Singleton did at Georgia Tech last year and the year before that, I'm looking at this and I'm saying those are three playmakers on the offensive side of the ball that can ball. When you look at what Horatio Fields did at Wake Forest last year, when he was a big-time target going up, catching those type of passes. When we saw what Xavier Chaplin did last year, being an all-ACC honorable mention. When we see what Jackson Arnold did last year, even though he didn't have a lot of a lot of help around him. I mean, we saw some bright spots. You know, when he got back from being benched, when after he got benched, we saw some bright spots. You know, it's a lot of stuff to be excited about on the offensive side of the ball. You know what I'm saying? It's just the fact of the matter is we just need to see it happen. That's really it. That's really the move. We just need to see it on the field. And when we see it on the field, when we see them do it consistently, my motto has always been, whatever your team is by week 4 or 5, really by week 5, whatever your team is by week 5, that's the team you're gonna have for the whole season, unless something just drastically changes. But that's how I am. Auburn dad comes in and said, man, spring scares me now because I fret on who we losing. I don't want to be in that mindset. I don't want to be in that the mindset of being of the scarcity mindset of what we losing, man. For the simple fact, because one thing that Coach Hugh Freeze and his coaching staff has proven to us is that despite anything, they can go out and they can accumulate talent. So if we lose something, just know that there is a talented person in that position that can step up and play. So I don't want to be in the mindset of us being scared of losing people, because when Auburn starts winning, when Auburn gets to the point to where they're winning consistently, when you start seeing that, you're going to start getting a lot of talented guys recruited, more than what we're seeing now. And a lot of those guys are not going to pan out for the simple fact because there's another talented guy that is ahead of them or competing with them at a certain position, and they just didn't win. So it's gonna be we're gonna once Auburn gets to that point, we're gonna start seeing that. So I feel where you're coming from, Auburn dad, but I don't want to be in that. I don't want to be in that mindset. I don't want to be in that scarcity mindset. They say what did they say? The main thing of economics is scarcity. Is that what they say? I don't want to be in that mindset. I want to be in the abundance mindset. I want to be in the mindset of saying, look, if this guy does leave, there's a guy right behind him that potentially could step in and be just as good, if not better. Auburn dad said we need 4K, Nick. That's what he said. He said we need 4K. Hey, I hope. Hey, I feel where you coming from with that. In the spring, I understand why you think we need 4K, but I don't know. I think we'll get a picture though. I think at most, we'll probably be like 1080. I think we'll probably be like 1080 if we get there. Ted's come in and said, man, Jackson Arnold might need a 4K spring, 720p, and he'll need to delete all his social media this summer. Oh man. Hey, it might be the truth. It might be the truth. It might be. God, can you imagine what happens if we make it to the Final Four or the championship this year? Hugh Freeze is going to get number 1 class. Very true. You may get an extension. If that happens, the roster should scare the hell out of a lot of teams. It should. It's a lot of talent on it. Agree. He agree with you, Tez. Auburn dad said, Nick, you see Nebraska not having spring game because he's scared of it being a viewing for other teams to pick his talents off. Oh man, that I didn't know that. I appreciate you telling me that. I didn't know that. But man, NIL and the transfer portal has changed a lot. It has changed the college game a lot. Do I necessarily agree with Nebraska not having a spring game because they're nervous of other teams seeing that and teams potentially tampering with players on their team to get them on their team? I don't know. There needs to be something in place for that, because at that particular time, if I'm not mistaken, the spring portal will open up right after the spring game. I think the spring portal opens up on the 15th and it goes through the 25th or something like that. If I'm not mistaken, quote me if I'm right. Spring portal does. That's the reason why the AFCA, the American Football Coaches Association, unanimously agreed on trying to propose having just one spring portal. Having one spring portal in January, and I think they only voted on it to be like 10 to 15 days. So is that something that can change? Because if that happens, then you won't see things like this with Nebraska canceling the spring game. You won't see it because it's honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. The spring game is really a way for the fans to get some sort of football in that break between the season. You know what I'm saying? That's really what it's for. Because these coaches have scrimmaged. They have had 80 play scrimmages. They have had 60 play scrimmages. They have probably had 100 play scrimmages, before the spring game, and they know what their team looks like. So the spring game is really a fan day for the fans, to be honest with you. It's something to go out there. You see a base offense. It's very vanilla, and it's something for the fans to come out and see what it is and see what happens and see what the team looks like, because we don't get a chance to see it, or certain people don't get a chance to see it because of that. But I don't know, man. I tell you this, that's heartbreaking if that's happening. And if that's, man, that's messed up. And King Richard Facts, the only part I'm worried about rhymes with new knees. Hardball, man. Shout out to Hardball, man. Appreciate you rocking with us here tonight, man. I can feel for Matt Rule though. Hey, that's what it is. The spring portal is kind of unnecessary in my opinion. You're not the only one that feels that. You're not the only one that feels that. It's true. Need one portal. Agree. There only needs to be one portal, and that's the reason why the AFCA they unanimously, like 100%, voted on just having one spring portal in that January period. So from January, I think it'll be like 10 to 15 days. The spring portal. I mean, that one portal period would be as well. So it'll be interesting to see. Take a look at it one more time, ladies and gentlemen. The offense, potentially what the offense could look like going forward. This is potentially a depth chart of what our offense could look like. Center guard tackle. You have Chaplin at the left tackle, Jeremiah Wright at the left guard. You have Connor Lew at the center. You have Dylan Wade at right guard. Murphy and Miller battling out for that right tackle position. At the X receiver, Cam Coleman. At the F receiver, Eric Singleton and Michael Simmons. At the H receiver, Horatio Fields, Perry Thompson. At running back, Damari Austin, Jeremiah Cobb, Darrell Robinson. Quarterback, Jackson Arnold. And at that Y position, which is normally your tight end or your other slot position, it could be Frazier Howard, but you could potentially see Singleton at that position or Simmons at that position as well. Taking a look at the defensive side, you got Falk at the end. You got Travis at the nose tackle, Malik Blockson at the defensive tackle position, Kieran Crawford at the buck position, Robert Williams and DeMarcus Riddick at your linebackers, Drake Crawford at one of the cornerback positions, and of course my guy Rayon Strider at the other cornerback. You have a lot of people are debating with me about this. Ken Lee at the nickelback. I'm not comfortable. I would rather see Ken Lee at free safety, in my personal opinion. Caleb Harris and Champ Anthony both back at those safety positions. So that's what you're looking at there potentially, man. Martin, he comes in and said, man, War Damn Eagle, man, I think Coach Freeze needs to commit himself 100% to coaching the offense instead of recruiting half the week. If he can't, he needs to hire a real OC. We had a show about this, and I'm the other way on this one, Martin. I think he should hire, or he should either hire a OC that's going to be the primary play caller, Derek Nix, or he should just take over play calling 100%. Because if he hires an OC or just gives the OC, Derek Nix, full play calling ability, he has the opportunity to just go be a CEO, be the guy that goes out in the community, be the guy that's doing the recruiting, be the guy that's kissing the babies, be the guy that's doing doing the community service, that's reaching out, the people that see him. He's the face of the organization. He has the opportunity to do that because he's not in the meetings every week doing that. That's the way I think he should. I think he should kind of just let that one guy be the primary play caller and not have three guys calling plays on game day. Just out of whack, in my personal opinion. Before we get up out of here, ladies and gentlemen, man, we put a poll up today on the YouTube page. That's why we say make sure that you are subscribed, make sure that you're liking, commenting, and make sure that you hit the notification bell, because we put a lot of stuff up on YouTube every day. And of course, at the Water Cooler Talk on Instagram and TikTok, and at Coolers Pod 23 on Twitter put a poll up today. This is the poll right here, man. Let me take that down so we can. Well, now you can see it. It was 22 votes as of an hour ago. I asked, which side of the ball do you trust more as an Auburn football fan? 95% of the voters chose defense. And I completely understand why you all did that. I am not mad at y'all with only 5% choosing offense. So, hey, no argument here. I completely understand where you are coming from with that. So hopefully this could get back to being more 50-50 by the time the season starts, maybe after the spring when we've seen a little bit of spring practice. So it'll be interesting to see, man. Tez comes in with a comment. He says, do you think this staff recruits well enough to survive without Hugh out on the trail? That's an interesting question because I think on the defensive side for sure. I think when you have a Rob Bellantoni, I think when you have a DJ Durkin, because DJ Durkin, that connection that he's building with those guys at St. Francis and Maryland, that's DJ Durkin. That's DJ Durkin all day. Like Zion Ely potentially coming to Auburn, even though he's committed to Maryland, even though he stated he's fully committed to Maryland, but he said he's going to keep in contact and build a relationship with Auburn because of Wayne Dorsey. And DJ Durkin had something to do with that. That's DJ Durkin. The defensive side of the ball, I believe so. I think the allure of what Coach Hugh Freeze has, the label that has been put on him as this offensive genius, guru type guy, offensive guru, helps with recruiting. So having him out there doesn't hurt. But do you think of Jake Thornton? Do you think of Marcus Davis? Do you think Kent Austin can go out and walk into a room and command the presence that a Hugh Freeze can? That's a conversation. I think Derek Nix can. I think Jake Thornton can. So I mean, it's a conversation. It's your personal opinion on that. It's just, it is what it is. Auburn that says, Tez, may Hugh need to be a closer. Yeah, that's it too there. Could he just be the closer? Could he be the guy that comes in and seals the deal on a recruit? Could he be the guy that comes in and seals the deal on a Jared Curtis type player or a Sadarian Morgan type player, or Jay Lamar type player? Could he be that type of guy, come in and be the closer? That makes a lot of sense there too. Who picked offense? Show yourself. That'll be interesting to see. Shout out to my guy Wade. I missed that one, but Wade picked defense. All right, man. Shout out to Wade, man. He said, yeah, what two picked offense? It is what it is, man. I don't know. I just see the votes. I don't know who did it. Ladies and gentlemen, man, appreciate y'all so much for rocking with us here, man. As always, we are here Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Fridays, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. And on Wednesdays, we're trying to move back to 7 p.m. Central. We're just trying to work that out. We're trying to do that. But as of right now, Wednesdays, 7:30 p.m. Central, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. But we're here every day, man. So we appreciate y'all so much, man. We got one more comment that came in before we get out. Ken Richard said, man, I think the staff can, just as long as they can get the recruits on campus and Hugh seals the deal. Yep. You got Coach Hugh Freeze being the closer. You get the guys, you get your guys out there, you get your assistant coaches out there to get them on campus, and then Coach Hugh Freeze comes in and closes the deal. That's what I'm looking at. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We appreciate y'all so much as always, man. As I always say before we get up out of here, man, thank you all so much for always coming around the water cooler with us, man, and always chilling with us, man. Everybody that's always in the chat, everybody that's always interacting with us, man. Your participation and your presence is never not taken for granted. We always appreciate y'all so much for rocking with us here around the water cooler, as always, man. Before we get up out of here, follow us on Facebook at the Water Cooler Talk Podcast or at Nicholas Frazier on Facebook. Follow us there. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at the Water Cooler Talk. And on X at Coolest Pod 23. You can follow us on X there. Just trying to grow our subscriber and our follower base. And of course, here on YouTube, subscribe, like, share, and hit the notification bell on YouTube. So, you know, when we post videos, when we go live, when we post our polls, when we post photos, when we do a lot of things, on YouTube, man. So share the video, man. Tell your cousin's best friend to tell his cousin, to tell her friend, to tell her mom's pastor, to tell his wife, to tell her sister to come check out the Water Cooler Talk, man. We appreciate y'all so much, man, for giving us the opportunity to earn some of your attention every day, man. We do not take it for granted. We thank y'all so much, man. Huggy Beard, War Eagle to you, my guy, man. War Eagle to all of y'all, man. Yes, sir, Auburn Dad. We'll see you, man. King Richard, man. Be safe, man. War Eagle to you as well. Tez, War Eagle, man. War Eagle. Wade, War Eagle, man. We appreciate y'all. Darrell, I appreciate that, my guy. As always, man, we love you. War Eagle, we are almost out of here, man. We'll see you tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. As always, before we get up out of here, you all have a good one. Better yet, y'all have a great one. Y'all be blessed, man. And as always, we love you. We out. One love. And we out this mug. Holla.
Boys and girls of all ages, you're tuned into the Water Cooler Talk podcast, the biggest podcast in the world. Yeah.
Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and hit the notification bell so you know when we post more videos and go live.